In the wake of mass shootings of students, hospital personnel, and others, Biden gave a speech concerning changing gun laws. The crux of the issue was published by us just a few months ago. The issue is much larger than people realize. Our book, The Second Amendment, Under Attack from All Angles, tells the story of how it is not just the Second Amendment that's under attack. It is the entire Bill of Rights. And we have to protect all of them if we mean to preserve the Second Amendment. This has really come home in the months since we published this book. On at least 2 occasions, President Biden has remarked that no right is absolute when discussing the issue of guns in America. On June 2nd, after the horrific mass shootings of students at the elementary school in Uvalde, Texas, Biden gave a speech in which he made this statement, quote, "At the same time, the Second Amendment, like all other rights, is not absolute," unquote. This is something he is saying more and more. It's not just the Second Amendment he's talking about. It's all of our rights, like free speech, freedom of assembly, and on and on. He said, like all other rights, in relationship to no right being absolute. Think about this. This is very dangerous thinking relative to the liberty and freedom of the American people. Biden and those who support him are talking not just about the curtailment of the Second Amendment, they're injecting into the conversation that all rights are not absolute. The totalitarians in leadership made a mockery of the First Amendment during the COVID pandemic over the past 2 years. Now Biden is hinting they may do it permanently. Let us not forget that Biden tried to establish the Disinformation Governance Board, which has recently been put on pause. There's been much concern over who he put in charge, Nina Jakovits. She is an expert in disseminating disinformation and wild charges against Republicans, Trump, and other foes of the leftists. She even sang a song on the internet asking who she needed to sleep with in order to become rich and famous. This and other social media posts have caused a real backlash against this board. The end result was dropping Jankowicz as its leader and the program put on hold, according to the White House. Not eliminated, put on hold. That is, until they can find someone who can fly below the radar and start to officially censor the internet and other means of using free speech and media. Not just the way they do it now, but do it under the sanction of the government. And there goes a major part of the First Amendment. You know, one of those pesky rights that, according to Biden, is not absolute. Look at the football coach, Joe Kennedy of Bremerton High School, Washington, who was fired because he dared pray after a game by himself. If you lose your First Amendment freedom of religion and freedom of speech, you will lose your Second Amendment, since you will not be able to defend it. You will have lost the ability to defend it in newsprint, television, radio, internet, etc. So as we point out in the book, The Second Amendment, you have to protect and defend all of our rights, or you will lose the Second Amendment in the process. The words of Biden saying that our rights are not absolute is a chilling reminder that if people do not stand up to what is going on, soon they will not have the ability to. Once this happens, you will need to prepare an answer to your grandchildren as to why you did nothing to stop the imposition of totalitarianism over the American people. Pray that you will not be asked the question as you are both standing in line naked to take a group shower at some internment camp. Precedents have already been established to control the people of America, and now they are openly working to take away your guns. In the 1930s, by edict, the president confiscated the gold of the American people. He had no legal power to do this. He just did it. And the people meekly complied. In the 1940s, Japanese Americans were interned in concentration camps. Roosevelt had no legal power to do this, yet it was done, and amazingly, the Japanese Americans stayed loyal to America. In the last few years, by edict, People have been denied the ability to open their stores, churches, travel, etc., out of fear of a pandemic that was no worse than past flu epidemics. No laws, no legislation, simply writing on a piece of paper, signing it, and declaring the edicts, and the people blindly follow. Are those in power really wanting to disarm honest citizens? Of course. Are they not turning loose criminals who use guns to shoot people in major cities, creating more chaos? If you are a criminal, you have more rights than a law-abiding citizen in some of our major cities. Everything the Biden administration is doing is aimed at creating the condition for a totalitarian government in order to solve crises they have helped create. Are you going to pray about it? That's fine, but you had better put some legs under your prayers before it's too late. The issue right now before us is whether we can preserve the right to keep and bear arms. Order our book for a starter, and when you read it, talk about it with others, and get them to read it as well for a better understanding of the issue, that it transcends the singular right to keep and bear arms. There's more to it. And then consider joining the John Birch Society and organizing people in your neighborhood to form chapters, educational militia, if you will, that then engage in peaceful action. Look, if terrorism becomes organized in America and the people have been disarmed, then what? Don't wait for Trump or someone else to solve our problems. A Republican Congress probably will not solve much of anything if past history is any example. We have to put up with 2 more years of this stuff. You have to be blind not to see what is in the future if not enough people do not get involved. Get involved now, before it is too late.